But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Whoa, wait a minute. There, that's better.
What could be weirder than signing a bill into law that requires schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms? Or weirder than signing legislation allowing minors to receive operations? Try electing the man who signed those bills Vice President of the United States. Enter Chief Weirdo Tim Walz. As governor of Minnesota, Walz supported legislation that endangers minors, hurts women, and puts radical ideology ahead of common sense. Now Kamala wants Walz to enforce those laws on a national scale. Tim Walz, too weird, too radical.
And I think seeing a plan that's out there, talking about it with folks, knowing that he's not going to do anything. He talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this.
Driver's licenses for illegals, surgeries for our kids, BLM riots in our streets. This was Kamala Harris's first decision as a presidential candidate. Kamala is dangerously liberal. We just can't trust her.
And you really can't. This, my friends, is way over the top. I have no idea what the hell is going on in this country with the Democrat Party anymore. They have officially announced, so you have no doubt anymore where they want to take this country. They want to make it into Venezuela. They want to take it into some sort of metamorphosis as towards what you're seeing in England right now. There is no possible way that they want this to be the America that you know and that you have loved for years. No possible way. So in my estimation, if there really is a number of people out here who are willing to talk and get the word out and fight censorship and fight through all the BS, there is no possible way this woman can win. I've said it before about landslide. Every single poll at this point is BS. There's no way anybody can convince me that a huge majority of people want what's coming. And if they do want what's coming, God help us. God help us all. I mean, if this is where we're headed, maybe I might want to look at expatriation. Maybe, I don't know where we could go. Because I can't live like this. I can't have my family live like this. I can't have people I love live under this kind of a government. It just can't happen. And I'm not looking to flee. I'm looking for safety. I'm looking for true safety and happiness. You know, the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is getting erased. They do not want this. Tim Walz, if it is possible, is further to the left of Kamala Harris. He's further to the left of Bernie Sanders. Might we actually begin calling this Democrat Party, may we actually be giving them the name at this point, communist. There's no other word for it. You know, I was talking to my wife earlier and I said, how can people be so blind? What is it that's causing people to basically sell out their own self-interest? Nothing what these people stand for are good for anybody. I mean, seriously, I'm trying to find that sliver of a demographic that this is good for America. I didn't say people, I said America, because over in Minnesota, where this guy has even gone as far as basically changed the Minnesota flag into the Somalian flag, it's not for Americans. They are no longer working for you. They are no longer working for me or anybody else that likes to wave the red, white, and blue. That is now no longer important to them. You don't matter. And I'm trying to think, is there enough people in this country where being an American doesn't matter anymore? Or is it that people are sleepwalking and they are zombies and they're not paying attention? This used to be a football channel. I used to talk about the Miami Dolphins and my beloved Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Used to talk about that. That was it. Talked about football. Well, it's, getting to that time. We just had the Hall of Fame game. College football opens very soon. NFL right behind it. And everybody that I know is focusing on football. And as I've mentioned before, the bread and circuses. And I'm like, guys, are you not paying attention? Are you not at all paying attention? Do you think this stuff is going to be part of where they're taking America? You love to go to football games. You love turning on and watching football. You love the pageantry of college football. I love the pageantry of college football. Look at these other countries and see if you see pageantry and excitement and fun happening. I don't see anything fun coming out of Venezuela. I don't see anything fun coming out of what's going on in Birmingham in England right now. Things that you just take for granted right now. Hey, I'm just going to go down to the store. Hey, let's go head over to the beach. Whoa, hey, have you seen the Egyptian beach volleyball team? Has anyone seen the Egyptian beach volleyball team? I challenge women, these white liberal women who want Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and they love this ideology. Go ahead and just Google Egyptian beach volleyball team. Check out the uniform. You white women liberals who think you're progressive and everything's going to be great. Guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be submitting to what we tell you. Get your butts in the kitchen. Put on the hood, don't want to see no skin, and don't come out the house and don't speak unless you're spoken to. You ready for that? Oh, Barry, you're being ridiculous. I would never come to that. Oh, really? Oh, really? Have you been to Minnesota? Do you see what's happening in England? See, that's the ruse they have everybody under. Oh, it would never happen here in America. Go to Dearborn, Michigan. Just Google Dearborn, Michigan women. See what's going on. See, as they're fighting to try and make Sharia law the law of the land. Wake up, people. I'm serious. There's going to be one day, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to hit the button to try and go live, and it's going to go, denied, denied, denied. Because they don't want people understanding where you're headed. It's scary because I'm thinking to myself, do people just not know? I mean, have you given up trying to educate yourself? Let me see if I can even find that Egyptian beach volleyball uniform. Egyptian, I didn't plan on it because I didn't think it would matter. But after this morning, I realized, yeah, it matters. Oh, let me just pull it up for you guys so you can see it here. This is the Egyptian beach volleyball attire. And I want every woman to know that if this is okay with you, keep voting in the Democrat Party. Here, let get a gander at this, ladies. I'm pretty sure you'd like that. Yeah, there it is. That is the Egyptian beach volleyball team. She's out there covered from head to friggin' toe. But she's playing. She's in the Olympics. It's great. Standing next to, looks like SP Spain, who's got the, you can see what she's got on. But she's competing against the Egyptian beach volleyball team. So I just want to know, are you ladies, you white liberals, if any of you white liberal ladies are watching, I know we've been getting a lot of trolls lately. Tell me, are you prepared to cover yourself from head to foot, not speak unless spoken to, and do everything that Sharia law demands? Oh, Barry, you're being ridiculous. Am I? Am I? Have you seen what Tim Walz has done? Do you understand what Tim Walz wants to bring to America? In that last piece that I showed, he was talking to Anderson Cooper, who Anderson Cooper kind of looked surprised. because, he was talking about Trump building a 25-foot wall. And his response to Anderson Cooper was, well, I need to open up a 30-foot ladder company. Yeah, because I want these people to come in. Not my words, his words. I'm not doing anything but sounding the alarm, letting you know you're in for a lot of trouble. But, don't believe me. You don't have to believe me at all. Let's just listen to a bit more of what Mr. Walz says himself. You'll love this. You'll absolutely love it.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a...
Okay, so it may be a little light to hear because it was a bad video, but this is during the St. George Floyd, the heralded Mr. George Floyd. This is after they decided to burn up the entire city. And what did this governor say? Hey man, this is a moment. This is where we need to be. This is how we learn how these people have problems. Because of you white people. Because of people who didn't understand the plight of Sir George Floyd.
Commission or a report, they're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think, that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can...
I hope you can hear it, but he says, and that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all of this. Learning that you have to make change. Can you get a fire truck to back up here and put out the fire at CVS? No. You have to understand, this is needed. In a country where there's so many problems, where you don't understand that you are no longer the majority, this is what you have to deal with.
Feel a sense of optimism coming back.
And what we want to say is we're there to protect children. We're there to have you understand.
Okay, so now this is after he wrote a law, and I have to be very careful because of the people upstairs won't like me talking about it. But he wrote, or signed a law rather, that said that parents and, people who take care of children no longer have to be notified if the kid wants to become a transformer. And right now we're going to do every single thing we can do to facilitate anyone at basically any age, if they can crawl, we can facilitate them becoming a transformer. What kind of evil looks at a kid and says, yeah, we can flip the script on this. That's what we have to do as politicians. We must enable people to basically, change what God has made here.
That in Minnesota you're going to be protected. And I just want to be clear. I will never understand what goes into the thinking of these folks to bully these children. That is not impacting them in one bit.
Hold on a second. I walk around, I drive around, I go to the store. I have never, ever, maybe I'm privileged, maybe I enjoy a sort of privilege I don't know of, but I have never, ever come across a transformer kid. Hasn't happened. And I've never seen anybody bully a transformer kid. It's never happened. You're talking about a segment of the population that's probably less than a 0.25% of people in the entire country. And you're saying you can't understand people who would bully these people? Yeah, I don't know anyone who would want to bully a kid. But I also don't understand anyone who would facilitate turning a kid into a transformer.
And making it a living hell for children, for families, for adults, for folks who are just trying to bring themselves in. So in Minnesota, we're...
You notice he didn't finish that. Just trying to bring themselves, what? Bring themselves where? Where did you want these families to bring these kids?
Making it very clear we're not going to cooperate with these folks. We're not going to extradite people. We're going to say that this is a place where you can come to make these decisions. So
come to Minnesota, which is amazing to me. I'm going to tell you why it's amazing as he finishes here.
The community The trans community is as terrified as they've ever been. We've seen attacks across the nation, even here in Minnesota.
What about the transformers who decided to take shooting lessons at people? How about the number of mass shootings that the transformers have done? And he's talking about the other way around. I haven't seen it. Can somebody show me? Does anyone know anything where these things are happening?
And we're now saying we have to be much more proactive. We have to be much more aggressive about making sure that folks are protected. So this is another of the fronts that, again, don't deal with climate change. Don't deal with other things. Deal with making people's lives miserable on something.
These people are lost. They are lost souls among us. There is no other answer for this. I strive. Let me finish this. Let me tell you about that.
That won't impact you. That's what these governors are doing, these attorney generals are doing. And I've had it. As a teacher, I will not stand bullies. I never did. And I'm not going to stand bullies who are masquerading as somehow about freedom. This has nothing to do with personal freedoms. It has everything to do with forcing an ideology on a vulnerable group of people for short term.
Which ideology is being forced upon whom? I'm pretty sure you, me, my wife, my family, have been living our lives and didn't need the megaphone of months and months on the calendar dedicated to, the trans something, whatever. I'd be fine if I never heard it again. It wouldn't even affect my life. I'm not basically rebuking anything. I just don't want to have anything to do with it. And I don't. You people are the ones who are like, hey, 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 screaming at us. Love it. Enjoy it. Here's the month of June. July, September, October, every 140 days on the calendar. Right now, where you're celebrating. You can't even drive over a crosswalk that you idiots painted. Think about that. You decided to paint a crosswalk, and then you're telling people, well, don't drive across it and make skid marks because we'll arrest you. It's a hate speech, driving your car over a crosswalk that we painted. You're friggin' insane.
From political gain. It won't stand, and in the long runs, Americans are far better than that, and they're going to find that out.
All right, so let me tell you what I was saying before I get to that video. It's absolutely insane to me that here's a guy who is fostering a mini Somalia in Dearborn, Michigan. I'm not Dearborn, Michigan. I'm sorry. He's in Minnesota. So in Minnesota, where they're doing all this stuff, he actually changed the flag to look more like Somalia, to look more like that Egyptian beach volleyball. I have a question. How are the two ideologies that you promote going to coexist? Has anybody thought about this? You're fostering an environment where you're promoting Somalian Sharia law. You got that? Okay. Meanwhile, at the same, fostering an environment that welcomes and encourages transforming. How is that going to work? These are the people that will throw you off of a building for being a transformer. And you're saying it's great, we're going to change the flag, we're going to all hail Somalia. And over here you're saying it's great, we're going to basically be champions and not let anybody bully the transformers. How are you going to do that? It doesn't make any sense. Nothing that Kamala Harris and her people are doing make any sense whatsoever. And I saw today that Ben Stiller gave $150,000 to Kamala Harris's campaign, and he said he wished he could do more. In fact, he wished he could turn black. And I'm thinking to myself, what? What is wrong with these people? And so Robin was talking to me, and she's been telling me over and over, stop trying to figure out what's wrong. At some point, you're going to have to accept the truth. And the truth, she tells me, is that these people have been consumed by evil. And I just can't or couldn't accept that until I started doing my research on Tim Walz and going, there doesn't make any sense. Because it makes no sense, it makes complete sense. She's right. These people, their eyes have scales on them or something, and they're not even understanding what they're saying. If they did, he could pull back and say, I can't possibly have a pro-Somalia Sharia law and at the same time have a pro-transformer, because those two things are like vinegar and oil. So if you're talking danger, you're promoting danger over here, and you're providing the victims for the danger. So then I have to say, because that's so ideologically stupid, that you must be consumed by evil, because you don't care. You want to pander to everybody, not realizing you are the one endangering people. But let's continue with this guy. Look what he's done here.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
He made driver's licenses for all the law of the state of Minnesota. Meaning you don't have to be a citizen, whatever. Everybody can drive. It's like Oprah just handing out driver's license. You get a license, you get a license, you get a license. Doesn't care. Everybody can drive. Again, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. None. All right, so this is going to crack you up. This is his wife. Ordinarily, I wouldn't put a wife out there. But what she says here is part and participle to what he believes and the thoughts that he has. And when you hear what she has to say, this is going to make the hairs along your spine just basically go boom. This woman was asked, hey, listen, I understand you want to help the newcomers, and I understand you want to help the people in the hood. How much do we have to give? How many times do these people have to be arrested before you realize they can't be rehabilitated? They need to go to jail. How many chances should these people get? And she makes a stunning revelation.
A chance every day. Like, how many chances do you get? My answer to that is as many chances as you need, which doesn't really please those law and order people.
She said that. The governor's wife said that. How many chances do we give these people? They're stealing. They're burning stuff down. What do we do? How many chances do you really want to give these people? As many as it takes. What? What do you mean? I know it's not going to please you people who want to follow laws, the law and order crowd, but we just need to basically submit. We've done so bad as white people that we just have to let them do whatever they want. And this is the guy that Kamala Harris just nominated as her vice president. That's why I feel she's not a serious candidate. That's why I feel if this is real, it's over. I mean, it's basically over at this point. Come on, you're cosplaying. You're not a real candidate. You're playing for fun here. You don't really mean it. It's absurd to think that you're a real candidate. You're bad enough, Kamala. You can't stand up to any scrutiny. And now you got this moron out there saying that basically anybody can come here. I'll provide ladders to get them over the wall. They can have as many chances. We'll put a revolving door on the jail. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to promote Sharia law in mini Somalia. I'm going to protect and make sure you understand that transformers have a certain amount of rights. You don't want to win. You want to win a segment of people who are nuts like you, but you obviously don't want to win the entire election. Or is our media just going to let them get away with it? That's the question at this point. It makes absolutely no sense. And in fact, as I show you, people were like, oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you for giving us Tim Walz. You are now showing us that you aren't a serious candidate and you're not going to win. Forget the polls. Just ignore the polls at this point. It's a farce. The cheat must be on. That must be the only thing they're going to do. So let me talk to a few of you guys. Let me make sure this shows up. Tim Walz had Antifa burn our city and blamed it on BLM to make blacks look the worst ever. Walz is racist, hates blacks. Great to see him go. There was a meme going around today is the governor promoted burning down the cities, and then Kamala promoted bail for the peoples who burned down the cities. You can't make it up. They put it side by side, and it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. People in my hometown are so blind. They are putting up Harris 2024 signs, but they're the first ones to cry about everything that's going on. Again, like the wife said, my wife, not that idiot. When you can't explain something and they can't explain it, then there's a force at work that they may not even realize, which means we should pray for these people. They're completely blinded. They're consumed. They're consumed at this point with evil. Absolutely. Hey, Diane, how you doing? God bless you as well. Has the storms passed by? Yeah, we were fine, thank you. The storms came by, basically brushed us, then went to the West Coast, and now it's scooting up to the Carolinas. The Democratic Party is now a communist party. In fact, it would make more sense if they just owned it. They should just change it right now. Let everybody know, hey, listen, this is who we are. We're not going to fake it anymore. Be honest. At least be honest and tell people this is what you want. Then I would understand if some of these, quote, liberal white women are still behind you because, maybe somehow they've been brainwashed. They don't really understand where things are going. It's amazing to me, absolutely amazing to me that I woke up this morning and the stock market was miraculously was back up. And then I had of course, the useful idiots out there, and they're like, well, Barry, you were saying to buy gold, and you were saying, the Kamala crash. And I thought to myself, are you that much of a functioning idiot that you don't understand the market and understand what happened today? There's a reason why things happen in the way they do. Because people look at things and they do some profit taking and go, like I told you yesterday, I look for opportunity. So if certain stock is down by 20%, well, you probably say to yourself, it might be worth taking a few of those stocks and see if it comes back up. Because if it comes back up, I can make some money and I can jump out and turn a profit real quick. It doesn't change the indicators. People are just, it's amazing to me. Nothing is going to change. What you saw was a sell-off, which is talked about in the market. And then today you saw people dipping back in and buying bargain. It's sort of like going to Big Lots. I mentioned Big Lots a lot, or a flea market. And somebody paid $60 for that video game. And now it's only $5 here. Well, I'm going to pay that $5. I'm going to buy it and take it home and play with it. I didn't buy it when it was $60. I'm buying it when it's $5. So now I'm going to buy this thing for $5, take it with me, enjoy it. The person who bought it for $60, maybe bought it a year ago, they dumped it. I get to buy it. It looks like the market's moving because people are going back in and basically being what? Oh, I think I said the word yesterday. Vultures. But the indicators that go along with the market have not changed. Understand, gas prices are still high. Retail prices are still high. None of this is changing. Rent, interest rates, nothing is changing until the Fed decides they want to play with the market some more. But if you understand the economy and the drivers of the economy, nothing has changed. It's still built on a house of cards. It's not going anywhere. And so when I talk about buying gold, I'm talking about making sure you're steady, that you can see where things are going so you can avoid all the crap in the market. Buy some gold. You know that inflation is still on the rise all across America, and our dollar is being devalued more and more every single day by the Federal Reserve and their massive money printing schemes. So you have to ask yourself, are my investments really safe? I doubt it. Listen to this. Government debt is growing at the rate of $1 trillion every 100 days. Since 2020, every dollar in your wallet has lost 24% of its purchasing power. And in just the last 18 months, what you need to survive as a family, your groceries, your necessities, have gone up by $11,000 per family. These are unsustainable and outrageous numbers. That's why I'm recommending that you call my friends at Lear Capital. They'll show you how easy it is to move some of your assets into gold and silver. You know, assets that are growing in value instead of keeping them in a dollar, which is declining in value. And as we approach the election, and with all the volatility in the world, now is the time to take some action. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. When you go to Lear, you'll be able to download a de-dollarization guide. It will show you specifically how your dollar is deflating every single year. There's no obligation, it's just free information. You'll learn how to protect your hard-earned money with gold and silver. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Call Lear at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you give them a call, ask how you can get $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. All right, we're back. I want to show you what Donald Trump posted on True Social when he found out that Kamala Harris was stupid enough to pick Tim Walz, whatever you say his name. It was very simple. All he said was, that was it. That was the entirety of the post. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for picking Tim Walz. I thought Josh Shapiro might have been a little bit more formidable, but now that they haven't picked Josh Shapiro, what they're actually saying to everybody is, we can't be associated with, Jewish people at this point. That's what they're saying. How sad is that? I got this comment. It makes total sense if you ever watch Yuri Basimov's 1983 video. He told us the way communism will come into America is through demoralization. They knew more of this. Now more of this makes sense. Absolutely. People got demoralized, and now they're taking complete advantage of it. America suffers from these criminals coming across our border, live like kings. While we pay to suffer, we also pay for these criminals to live better than us. And that's going to be happening more. If she were to win, you don't matter. The only thing that matters is you go to work, be the best little worker you can be. I need to take more of your money to help these people. And how much do I need? I'll let you know when I'm done. There is no number. There is no set number that you can see at this point. Citizens have become too complacent. We let our politicians get away with too much. No consequences. It's our fault. Yes, I have to agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Kamala and Walz are dangerous. It's death if these two win. Therefore, illegal migrants, criminals, this is scary. Somebody said something here. And, okay, Leslie. Leslie said, Spain's volleyball players look like those kind of stars. I have one response to that. I may not like it. My wife may not like how they dress. You may not like it. But it was their choice. It was their choice to dress like that. And so if and when the United States goes to Sharia law, you will no longer have that choice. Especially if you're a woman. Pretty much, I mean, from our side of the thing, it looks pretty good. It's like, what? We can just tell this woman, shut up, do what they need to do. And if they don't do what we tell them to do, you take them outside in the street and give them a couple slaps on the butt with the whip. Whew, man, there's going to be a lot of guys that might like that. Some sickos. But if you can make your woman just completely do whatever you want her to do and make sure she never leaves the house, all she's got to do is stay in the house, cook, clean, and make babies, that's what these guys are doing. Look at those protests in England. You see any women out there? Seriously, I want you to look at what's going on, how the marauding gangs are running through England, dressed in full black. Let me know how many women you see out there. Just checked out the blogs, and people are saying, I don't need to like him. It's anyone but the orange man. Yep. The media has done that. The media has told people that Donald Trump is the bad guy. We're the good ones. You got to do anything you can to make sure that that guy isn't president. Meanwhile, nobody is, I won't say nobody, too many people aren't looking at what's coming. For some reason, they just want to look the other way. They're not understanding. They're buying the BS that's being sent to them, and it's just getting awful. So let's listen a little bit more about Mr. Walz here. And this is after Trump said, thank you. Kayleigh McEnany went on Fox, and she said this.
This is a stunning choice. I imagine there's a lot of cheering at Mar-a-Lago at the moment. Look, Tim Walz, he's no one to scoff at. He unseated a 6-term Republican in Congress. He won a conservative district. He began as a moderate. And then he had a radical transformation as soon as he got a trifecta in Minnesota. I think it is fair to call him a progressive in sheep's clothing. When you look at his record over the last few years, what you see are transgender surgeries for minors, carbon electrical grid by 2040, driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. In function, his abortion policy allows abortion until birth. These are policies that are far to the left of America. And as John McCormick at the Wall Street Journal pointed out, Kamala Harris has to do the exact opposite of what Tim Walz did. Tim Walz became more progressive. Kamala Harris is trying to become more moderate.
No, she's not. See, that's the ruse that they're putting out there. They're trying to let you think that she's trying to be more of a moderate. She's not trying to do anything. She's following what they're telling her to do. Somebody told her you can't pick, let me just get into this. Somebody told her you can't you can't pick Josh Shapiro, because if you pick him, you're going to piss off the Hamas wing. And if you piss them off, then you might lose Michigan or Minnesota. And if you lose those, you can't win. So go ahead and pick Tim Walz, who's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Leave Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. He can help you win Pennsylvania as well. Whew, great. But what about all the people we piss off? Oh, screw them. What about Wisconsin? What about Virginia? What are you going to do about that? Nobody seems to want to talk about that. How are you going to get these other, Virginia, because so many of the people in Washington, D.C. actually live in Virginia. They're hoping that they can carry that. But remember, there's only a handful of states where all of this matters, and they're calculating their moves accordingly so they can lie to everybody else. Doesn't really matter. I don't care what you people in Montana think. You're useless. Just go to work so we can get more of your taxes. I don't care what you people in Texas think at this point. You get what you get. Just go to work and do what you need to do. If people looked at San Francisco and they looked at Minnesota and saw the devastation that's going on in these cities and in these blue areas, it would be an easy decision, but the media won't show it anymore. They still look like war zones, especially in Pennsylvania. In the Kensington area, it's just zombies. Just zoned out, drugged out zombies, just hanging on the street, just doing all this kind of stuff. But they don't show it. And so the ignoramuses among us don't realize what's going on. Hey, it's football season. Everything's great, isn't it? And I'm like, wake up. I talked to some people who still, are just focused only on football. And I'm like, don't you understand what's happening? Do you understand that the way things are moving? Just look over the last 4 or 5 years. You put people in place who decide they have enough power to tell you you can't go to a football game. What do you mean? Well, you posted something on Facebook. We saw it. So you're not allowed to use the central bank digital currency. We're not going to allow you to buy a ticket to go to the game. So, sale refused, stay your ass home. Oh, Barry, you're overblowing it again. Oh, really? This morning, somebody posted, I believe that somebody was Elon Musk. Elon Musk posted something that was just simply amazing. I mean, it blew me away. And every time I start thinking that things aren't as bad as they seem, I see something like this and I say, I have to show people, because people won't believe it. When they see these things, they think, well, Barry must be making it up. And I look at it. Let me see if I can find it. Where did he post it here? But basically, there were 3 people. One got arrested for protesting, but he was white. Another got arrested because he created some stickers that were anti-immigration. This is in the UK. One of them got like 24 months in jail. The other one got like eight months in jail. And then the third person was somebody who, how can I say this, had his way with a little girl, and he got 180 days of community service. They're letting evil run amok. And there's nothing that people can do about it now, especially in England, because they don't have 2A rights.
But Republicans are going to say, you've shed all your progressive policies, but yet you chose a progressive instead of the guy who outperformed Donald Trump and Joe Biden in Pennsylvania, and that man's name is Josh Shapiro.
And that could potentially bring support from Jewish voters, something the Harris campaign needs sorely, no matter who's on the ticket with her. What do you think tipped the scales for the campaign? It is, as you mentioned, a bit of a shock choice. Do you think it was an ideology bent here, or do you think it was based on raw polling?
So the word coming out of the Kamala Harris camp to reporters was chemistry. She wanted someone with whom she had chemistry. I would love to know what Obama said to her on the phone, because this time last cycle, 4 years ago, Joe Biden was having apprehensions about choosing Kamala Harris. He called Obama. He expressed these reservations to Obama per CNN, and Obama said back to him, none of that is as important as winning. So I wonder what Obama said, because if this is a chemistry choice, that's fantastic if you have chemistry. But if you don't make it to Pennsylvania Avenue in 2 months, the chemistry doesn't matter. So I've got to believe this was an innate decision of how she was feeling. But feelings should go out the window when you're looking at the path to 270.
With this decision, choosing Tim Walz, she has proven just how dangerously liberal she is. Tim Walz.
And I don't think enough people are actually realizing that. The danger of liberalism. And I think this is one of Trump's spokespeople. You got to stop calling it liberalism at this point. You got to start calling it what it is. Don't be afraid to use the word. You got to call it. The man himself, Tim Walz, he actually said, socialism is just being neighborly. He embraces it. If he embraces it, we need to embrace it. Call them out. They are socialists, almost full-blown communists at this point. Anyone that wants to take 70 or 80% of your income and give it to other people, like she has said, is not a liberal. Liberal, we passed that exit on the highway about 2 hours ago. It's way back there. We are now into full-blown socialist, communistic approach on the Democrat Party. And somebody in the Democrat Party, or somebody above the Democrat Party, is telling all these people, stay your asses in line. This is how we're going to do this. They are in lockstep. They are in complete unison, 100% attachment to this. They're going to go with it. They don't care. If it's Obama, I don't know. Somebody, Soros, somebody's telling them, this is how it is. You don't have any choice in the matter. Just nod your head and walk. Because we've got a dossier of crap on you and your entire family, or you'll be pushing a broom in some third world country. Something is happening that these people are willing to agree and prostitute themselves to this level. These are walking, talking, thinking Americans who've been elected to positions, and there's no possible way they would all just be looking the other way and going, yeah, this looks great, if people weren't forcing them to do it. You're not going to convince me that every Democrat in this country is okay with this. So somehow someone's twisting somebody's arm behind their back and saying, this is where we're going. I found that tweet by Elon Musk, and here it is. And he goes, and he asks, what the H is going on? This is what's happening in the UK right now, and this was from Kevin Sorbo. This guy posted a comment on Facebook. The one in the middle sold an anti-immigration sticker, and the other guy, as I said, pleasured himself with a 12-year-old girl. This guy got 15 weeks in jail. He got 24 months in prison, 2 years. And that guy who's from another country got 180 community hours and no prison time. That is coming to America. Make no bones about it. Don't say I'm basically being a conspiracy theorist. No, it's happening. It is absolutely happening. That's what Kamala wants. That's what her vice president wants. You have to let people know it's coming. Are you okay with this? Challenge people. Tell them, are you okay with this? I just want to know. You're my friend. You're my family worker. You're a family member. You're my co-worker. Are you okay with this? And when they start saying, oh, you're just, you're being fear-mongering. Oh, you're just being a conspiracy theorist. Ask them to call somebody in England and see if you could basically go back to the future and dial back 2023 with them and say, if someone had told you this in 2023, would you be voting the way you are today? Because that's where we are. We are in 2023 England. We are in 2020 or so Venezuela. All these countries that are flipping nuts right now had the opportunity to do the right thing, and they didn't. And now they're paying for it. So if you could dial it back and say, hey, listen, would you do this if you knew this was coming? And so I would tell my friend, my family member, and my coworker, I bet what you're saying is what the people in Venezuela said a couple years ago. What you're saying is what the people in England said a couple years ago. They meant well. They wanted to help people. They wanted to do better. And now they're getting beat in the street. I watched a video this morning. I can't even show these things here, which is just crazy. Maybe I should get a Rumble account. I watched a video today where people were just hanging out in a pub. They had nothing to do with anything going on. They're having lunch in a pub, and they just got viciously attacked. Why? Because they're white people who are doing something that the gang didn't think they should be doing. And I say gang, I'm talking about maybe 50 people jumped on these two people and beat this man senseless because he was having a beer in public, and she had the sin of wearing shorts and a halter. And I'm guaranteeing you, those people, if you ask them, what would you have done 2 years ago when all this stuff started happening? And like, oh, we got to help the newcomers. Oh, my God, we just can't be conservative. Oh, we got to do all this. Oh, we got to work towards having, the Transformers. Oh, my God, you have to be able to get rid of babies. What happens when you can't? You think the people coming from these other countries are okay with you getting rid of babies and being Transformers? Sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds good to the white liberal women. This is fine. It's dandy. I'm just helping people. I'm virtual signaling. Oh my God, these guys, they're looking for a better life. They're looking to take your life is what they're doing. They're looking to show you what life is supposed to be like. So anytime somebody asks me, I ask them, I have begun asking people, do you think people in Venezuela 3 or 4 years ago knew what Maduro was going to do? Do you think people even a year ago in England thought this is where things were going to go? So now I want you as an American, you've got a choice in front of you. You've got Donald Trump and you've got these two morons who they're not even lying to you. I want to take 70 to 80% of your money. I want to let in as many newcomers as possible. I want to do this, this, and that. They're telling you. And you've got so many people virtue signaling and going, oh, it's just, we need to help. You're not going to have a second chance. They get in power, and what they'll do, don't think you can fix it. We are almost at the point where it's not fixable. And the only way these people win is if people continue to stay asleep. If they continue to just think it can't happen here, it won't happen here. Really? It's already happening. The media is just not talking about it. People are being killed. Women are being brutalized. Over and over and over, this is happening. And yet people don't talk about it because the media won't publicize it because they're covering for these people. Whoever's in charge is telling the media, you can't talk about these subjects. Just keep talking about Donald Trump and how he's racist and how the DEI and he's sort of like Adolf back in 1939. Just keep telling these idiots that, and we'll get the votes. Let's continue.
Is one of the most far-left governors in America. Much like Kamala Harris, he supports wide-open borders. He supports sanctuary cities. In Minnesota, he signed a bill giving licenses to illegal immigrants. Tim Walz, like Kamala Harris, is soft on crime. He also supports the defund the police movement. In fact, in Minnesota, violent crime has increased by 21% since he has been governor. And like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz is anti-American energy. He signed a bill to ban carbon-based fuels in Minnesota by 2040. That is a threat to our national security. That is a gift to China. If Americans want to know what a Harris-Walz America would look like, look at the streets of Minneapolis in the summer of 2020 when they were literally burned to the ground. Look at the streets of San Francisco. Their liberal utopia is every American's worst nightmare, and we'll spend the next 92 days ensuring every American knows how radical.
They want to do away from what they call fossil fuels. They don't want you to have gas. Do you know why they don't want you to have gas? It has nothing to do with the environment. I got another homework assignment for my audience here, for you, my friends, the fam. There's another thing you need to look up. You need to go look up 15-minute cities. When you find out what their plan is for the so-called 15-minute city, it's going to blow you away. I'll give you a little hint. The reason why they want to do away with gas is they don't want you moving. They don't want you traveling. You don't need to go anywhere. Everything that you need will be within 15 minutes of walking for you or a bike ride. That's it. We don't want you driving. We don't want you flying. We're going to make flying as arduous as possible. Kiss away your visits to family on Christmas and Thanksgiving. You just need to live in a 15-minute city. Well, how are we all going to live in a 15-minute city? Well, it's because you're going to live in a pod, eat bugs, and be happy. You own nothing. Again, this is published. It's not something I'm making up. You may not know about it. Like I said, Google, you'll own nothing and be happy. It is not something we're just making up. Look up 15-minute city and what that entails and what that means and what you are going to be expected to do in a 15-minute city. That's why they don't want gasoline, because a captive population is very easy to govern. You can't go anywhere. So if I take away your rights to the 2A, and I take away your ability to move, then you're basically at my beck and call to do whatever I want to you. Now, the only good thing about this is that there are some, very few Democrats who are like, I don't know if this guy was the right guy. Because there are probably some good Democrats out there who feel safe and secure in the money that they have and the life that they live, that they can see where things are going. One of those people is basically Van Jones. Listen to what he says here.
Do you think it was a little risky, though, Van, that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania? I mean, yes, David Challenger was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him.
We don't have to define him. Van, you're giving your thoughts to another idiot, Jim Acosta here, and you're saying that we have to define him as Republicans. No, he's defined himself. just like with Kamala, there is so much video out about this guy. I've showed you just a small sample. There's tons of stuff that this guy has said that you can basically look at and go, hey man, this is pretty bad.
But so here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it, we got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others.
Why are we talking about them? Why are we allowing that to define American way of life? The American way of life should not be defined by what's happening in Gaza and Arabs and Muslims. What? Why are we even prioritizing that? I want to know what the young family in Cleveland, Ohio, who's trying to make ends meet, who's working 2 and 3 jobs, and wants to be safe and raise a family. And you're talking about Gaza and Arabs and Muslims, and that our government, the American government, should worry about what those people feel as a priority? Those were the first things he said out of his mouth.
They have not felt seen by the Biden administration.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that was our job as a nation, is to basically worry about those people before Americans. How about our vets? How about a legion of vets who are homeless and committing suicide every 22 minutes? How about that? How about the black community? How about the Asian community? How about no community? How about it just being Americans? Let's remove the hyphen and understand all Americans deserve more of a priority than Gaza, Muslims, and Arabs.
You start hearing that genocide joke. That was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with.
Do you hear what he's saying? When I watched this, I was like, oh my God. He hasn't mentioned an American yet. Because those folks needed a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. What? What about us? No, you don't count. You don't count. Don't you get it yet?
This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party? So that's going to have to get worked out.
How much of what just happened, announcing Tim Walz as vice president, is caving into the dark parts of the party? All of it. How much? All of it, Van. None of these people care about Americans whatsoever. They don't care. I just wish they'd be honest so that these, quote, white liberal women would wake the heck up. They don't care about you. He didn't mention the word American, and that entire thing he was talking about how Democrat strategy and how this may be worrisome for them because they're going to be catering to the dark end of their community, their demographic, who they really give a crap about. Hamas, Muslims, Arabs. What about Americans? Black Americans? White Americans? No? None of that? That's who they care about? Whew. Yes, we're in trouble. This is the last election. If we don't beat Kamala Harris and this moron that she just picked, I'm pretty sure this will be the last election. Because they are not prioritizing anything having to do with American needs. You just heard him rattle it off. Hey, I'm concerned. I'm worried because, not sure what we would do because of these other groups. And we're caving into the dark side of the left. Well, would it be a novel idea if you just focused on Americans? Would it not just be something amazing if you were elected to an office like vice president or president and you were focused on helping Americans? This is an easy debate. This guy will get chewed up and spit out by J.D. Vance. The contrast could not be clearer. The contrast between Kamala and Trump could not be clearer. This is a completely staged candidacy by Kamala Harris. It cannot stand up to scrutiny. There is no way you can sit there and tell Americans, this guy over here wants to make America great again. Sounds good to me. I want to lower your taxes. Sounds good to me. I want to make no taxes on tips. Sounds good to me. I want to dig baby drill for oil, lower gas prices. Sounds good to me. What do you got? I want to raise your taxes to 70 to 80%. I want to make sure that baby removal is the top thing that I work for. I want to make sure that we give newcomers as much of your money as possible. And at that point, you'd have to look and go, am I in a candid camera routine? For those of you who are old enough to remember that. I mean, that against that? What? How can the polls possibly be close? How can there be anybody? If I held their head and go, okay, look at that. No, I don't want it. Who says yeah, I need some of that. Here, take my money, please. Bring in all the newcomers. Focus on baby removal. Yeah, go ahead and transmutilate anybody you want. Huh? Seriously? You're believing a poll at this point? When there's no sensible American who's willing to have a conversation, because that's the other part of it. Every time you talk to someone who calls themselves a liberal, they can never articulate what the hell they're talking about. Hey, Fred, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. Do you really want to pay 70% of your income to the government? Oh, you Trump cult members. Dude, breathe. Woosah. Talk to me. Let's talk like two humans. Let me ask you, we're talking about issues here. Don't get mad. I'm just asking you a question. Do you want to give up 70 or 80% of your money to the government? Oh, you're just being a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're just one of those maggots. They can't converse with you. So my wife might be right. Maybe they are consumed with evil. I mean, I'm sitting across from somebody. I remember a few years ago having some very, very Democrat friends, and we could talk about things. They didn't get incensed and scream at you in a store. Something has clicked where these people can't even speak anymore. Try it. Wear a Make America Great Again hat out, and when someone screams at you, go, hold on, man, hold on. If I take off the hat, can we have a conversation? No, you're a maggot, you're a cult. That's how far gone we are. That is where we are. Trump has to win or we are all effed. Yeah, and it's not just because of that. It's because how do we get back to normalcy? I don't know if you guys saw but there was something, I forget it. There was a city in New York that they banned wearing masks. Not making you, they banned the other side. No more masks. You guys are nuts. Everything's fine. And they had to carry people out of the commission hearing, screaming because they couldn't wear masks anymore. Look that up. They're going to do whatever needed, legal or not. They're going to do whatever needed, legal or not. They're going to do whatever needed, legal or not. MSM is brainwashing those that rely on TV for the news. Yeah, it's funny to me you mention that. Is that I won't mention the restaurant, but I understand that one of the people from CNN was at a restaurant the other day ordering food and drink and basically spending a lot of money, and somebody came up to them and basically called them out as to some of the stuff. Not call them out because they talk nice, like, man, you really believe this shit? And she just shook her head and said, it's crazy. Off television, when they're in a relaxed environment, or if you see someone in a football suite at a game, they're just like, it's nuts. It's a game. It's an absolute game. 100. Yeah, people just have to talk. Raskin, 4 years later, not a single person, Not a single person was charged, tried, or convicted of insurrection, including President Trump. But this won't be the first time Raskin will be an election denier. No, they'll just keep saying it over and over. So before I go, I want to show you some things that came up today. This is from Mark Levin. Mark Levin says Harris goes hard left. Harris picks fellow extremist Minnesota Governor Walz. Harris has picked the most radical governor in the country. She also passed over Shapiro because of opposition from the Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. Harris is hiding and lying, but with this choice, she's made it crystal clear she's all in with the Marxist, Islamist, socialist, communist, radical base in her party. Walz was supported by Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, the Squad, and the rest of the party's extremist kooks. Yeah, if AOC's behind him, I don't want to know nothing about it. Ben Shapiro said, as someone who wants Kamala to lose, picking Walz is it's political malpractice. Why? Not from a swing state. Radical underscoring here radicalism. She rejected Shapiro to please the pro-Hamas caucus. She's not competent, and this pick knows it. Let me just stop there for a second. It has to scare you to your core that we have a presidential candidate who's worried of what the Hamas wing of her party thinks. She's not worried about you. She's not worried about Americans, you know. She's worried about what they think. That should be enough to talk to somebody and go, why do you guys think she picked Walz? Oh, well, she had to make sure that the people in Minnesota, those, somewhat Somalians, decided to keep voting for her. So she wanted to make sure that people who don't ascribe to the American way of life, she wanted to make sure they're happy. That's what you're saying? Okay. And that's who you want to vote for. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And now this woman is no fan of Donald Trump. This is Meghan McCain. And she wrote this. The Trump and the Republicans just got lucky with that pick. Tells you something. Who I got here? This is Richard Grinnell. He used to be involved with the Trump administration. He says, reporters must make clear that Tim Walz has given free health care, driver's license, and tuition to newcomers. If you keep waiting for the reporters to give out that information, it's never going to get out there. We have to publicize it. Hey, Richard, instead of basically tweeting it out, get on television, get on a podcast, do whatever you need to do, and you need to tell people. I understand, what's he got? He's got 1.3 million followers, but only 10,000 people liked it out of 1.3 million. It's not working, man. You're going to have to do more. You got to do more. Sean Davis, I love his stuff. Here's what we know about Harris' running mate so far, and it's not even noon, so he put this up a little while ago. He let the BLM riders burn his state down. He forced schools to put tampons in boys' bathrooms. Let me say that again. He forced schools to put tampons in boys' bathrooms. He wants to give ladders to newcomers to climb the border wall. He abandoned his military unit. That's another thing. He's going to turn off basically a ton of vets. See, Mark Kelly may have brought some Democrat vets into the fold. This guy's going to turn off vets. The story on him leaving his unit is going to come out and it's going to be huge. He gave driver's license to newcomers. He claimed socialism was neighborly. He tried to get out of a DUI by lying to cops and claiming he was deaf. That's another thing that's going to come out. And he set up a C-snitch line to narc on non-maskers, which he did. So you could call in and basically tell on people. If you're an anti, congratulations, because Kamala Harris has seen and heard you. She is clear-eyed. Hamas will have a seat at the table in her administration. Absolutely true. Ann Coulter said something really interesting. I don't really like Ann Coulter that much, but when she says something like this, it makes me just think. See, I can actually hear things from people who I don't agree with, and I can say, that makes a lot of sense. So Ann Coulter said Shapiro was obviously the best choice for Kamala, but Democrats couldn't upset the anti-wing of their party. Must be a pretty big wing. That made me sit back and think. It should make you sit back and think. If they're so worried about upsetting these nut jobs in their party, how many of these people secretly in a closet are actually like that? Like she said, it must be a pretty big part of the wing. You know, we know how AOC and the squad feels. We know how Elizabeth Warren feels. How many of these people are anti-Semites? How many of these people are Hamas sympathizers and Palestinian sympathizers? How many of them? Because in order for you to cater to what we're thinking is a real small amount of people, it doesn't make any sense unless you know there are so many people in your party who can't come out and be honest with their constituents, but they're really feeling this way. That was just something that really made me sit back and think. I had to sit back and go, must be a pretty big wing. What are you saying, Ann? And then it made sense. It made absolute sense. If you're catering to this group, then you must realize there's a huge number of them. And if there's a huge number of them, America's in deep, deep trouble. These people are embedded. That's essentially what Ann Coulter's saying. That's essentially what Kamala Harris is saying, is I have a huge group of people that feel this way. You don't. I don't. That's why Van Jones said the dark corner of the Democrat Party. He knew exactly. Dan Bongino, I love him. If you love commies and socialism, then the Harris-Walz ticket is totally your bag, baby. Absolutely. Daniel France, I'm not going to read all this, but this is about when Tim Walz set up a hotline so your neighbors could snitch on you if you weren't doing the right thing during the C thing. I can't say the word, but you can see what the word is. So that to me should have been enough. Bill Malugin from Fox. Their past positions on border immigration. Harris, decriminalize newcomer immigration. Make them all come. Abolish ICE, which she compared to the KKK. Medicare for all newcomers, and pushed false border patrol whipping narrative, compared it to slavery. Remember that? Yeah, that was her. Walz says free college. There's no such thing as free. No such thing as free. So free college and Minnesota Care expansion for newcomers, signed law to allow newcomers to get driver's license, and said he'd invest in a ladder company to defeat Trump's border wall. That's who she just picked as a vice president. Shapiro, who everyone thought was the obvious pick, spent the entire weekend all but apologizing for being who he was, and the Democrat oligarchy still refused to pick him. Again, how big is this side of the party? How many people are in it? That's how much the radical left-wing base of the Democratic Party hates Jews. Very interesting. Even Mike Pompeo, Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz want to make the rest of America look like San Francisco and Minneapolis. Think about that. High crime, anti-police, high newcomers, and support for the pro-Hamas, anti-Israel core of the Democrat Party. The most radical, extreme, leftist ticket our nation has ever seen. That's where we are. That's where we are. That's who's looking to run this country, and God help us if they get in control. There's nothing more dangerous than we are right now. So I have to believe if we get the word out, if you guys watching can talk to people and tell them this is dangerous, do you understand what's going on? If they're willing to talk to you, she lost the election. It was almost like she threw it, like there's in a way falling on her sword, because there's no possible way Americans would want these two people to lead them for the next 4 years. Not possible. I just changed to Humana in May, and I found out yesterday Humana is based in the Philippines. The swamp is very deep and very evil. Yep. They get paid to hate. They have no higher authority. That's what separates them from us. We have to submit. We have to pray. And at this point, you really need to step up your prayer game, because it's so important at this point that God intervened. Thank God he intervened on July 13th and Trump is still alive. Just imagine that. If he wasn't alive right now, what would be going on? Hey, John, how are you? We are in a fight of good versus evil. Yes, we are. More people that realize that. And myself as well, because I kept looking for that answer. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. What the hell's going on? And I have to listen back to my wife says there's no explanation because they are consumed. Unless you have a better explanation, like I said, think about people who thought everything was going to be fine in Venezuela. Venezuela was a rich country. I just wonder how many of you know how prosperous Venezuela was. I went on vacation in Caracas. It was amazing. And it took one election to put Maduro in to flip that entire country. That was it. Then you're seeing it happen. You see the people in the streets in Spain. You see the people, what's going on in Birmingham. And again, we don't have a time travel machine. We're not able to go back. But luckily, we're here in America where we can ask people today here, what would you do if you knew that was what was coming? Be honest, if you knew Venezuela was coming here and you were going to have to live in a 15-minute city and you couldn't drive anyplace and you were going to have to eat the bugs and live in a pod and be happy about it and own nothing and give up 70% of your money to the government, is that what you want? And then just pray for people. Pray at that point that people begin to understand the choices that they have in front of them isn't the orange man. The orange man isn't the one who's your enemy. Who your enemy is the people who are looking to destroy your way of life. That's it. That's who your enemy is. They don't want you living the way you like to live. Let's just say Pastor Jack Hibbs said Jesus' name in his prayer to the House in D.C. and Dem signed a letter to never invite him back. Bingo. There you go. That's your answer. We're living in an era where evil is running rampant. That's why I made the thumbnail that I made about this video. Be prepared. Do everything you possibly can. We are going to hold another prayer night. But this guy is bad. Should be the end of it for Kamala if people will open their eyes and listen. That's the one caveat I have right now. Actually, there's two, that they don't get to cheat. But the idea about cheating is to keep the polls looking close so they can do what they need to do. In reality, it ain't there. I can tell you it ain't there with the black. They're telling you it's not there with the black vote. Understand it. There's not a whole lot of lying going on. There's some, but not a whole lot. They're telling you Trump has shaved off 25 to 30% of the black vote. They've told you that. She can't win. Numbers can't win. They told you she's polling less with the Hispanic than Biden and even Hillary did. You can't win. Mathematically, she can't win. They've told you that Trump polls better with 75% of people with the economy. They've told you that Trump polls better with 65% of the people in regards to immigration. But then they tell you, well, she's winning. The charade is going on and on and on. It's not even close. Just keep that in your mind and understand to pray and keep fighting. I got to get out of here and get ready to plan the show for tonight. Thank you for tuning in midday. This guy's a nut. Make sure everybody knows he's a nut. Share the video. Do me a favor on your way out.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
That's what I need you to do. Just like the video, leave a comment. Thank you very much. Talk to you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Was it 3:30? See you in a couple hours.